Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show, we're talking about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the Upload season premiere. Great season premiere. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. It's actually a very kind of sad way to start off the season, especially kind of picking up where the season finale left off. It seems like it might have only been like a couple days, because I think in totality, it's been a month, but because I think the first time he got frozen, it had been like, wasn't it like a couple weeks or something like that? And then the same thing happened yet again when Ingrid, I think it was a combination of, yes, it's been a month, because I think when she unfroze him for that little bit with the extra gig and he froze again at the end of season 1, I think that's been an extra 2 weeks. But regardless, that's kind of heartbreaking and kind of sucky. It's like, oh, you're back from the 2 gig space. I'm actually surprised they didn't make more of a story of that, of like him kind of being, I mean, to be fair, that's going to be a hard thing to kind of get adjusted to. Just like every flux of emotion and thinking and feeling too much will burn through your 2 gigs just like that. So, but Ingrid's brought him back up to, it's like, hey, I'm surprised that's all allowed, because, I mean, I'm assuming maybe the money is hers, but it's also family money, and her dad was paying for it, but I guess it's like, right, for now, keeping Nathan in the dark about everything. They assume he doesn't know anything, just because, like, Nora assumed no one else knows that he remembers anything, so most likely that's why they haven't come after him. That's why they're kind of letting Ingrid just do whatever she wants to. So I thought it was kind of weird when she was like, oh, I uploaded myself. I was like, did you? We ultimately find out she didn't. I felt like she was probably faking it, because we do know she had the hug suit, but once again, we all know it's the sex suit, because that's what mainly people use it for. But she kept Nathan on ice for 2 weeks so that she could prepare everything for him, because she's trying to win him back. Because she always kept feeling him slipping away. They broke up. And it kind of seems a little psychotic when you were broken up with and then you immediately decide to do something. I mean, that's also kind of crazy, because that would have meant like you went through the trouble of uploading yourself, but killing yourself in the process to do it. I'm like, would you really have done that with someone that broke up with you? Like, and she even later on says, like, oh, I admit that I'm controlling and such, but it's like, right. It's hard to say with Ingrid, like, what's real and what isn't. How much is just you saying all the things you need to say to get him back under your control, and how much is you legitimately wanted to be a better person, wanted to do things differently. You were just trying to, like, you just went too hard in the paint trying to get him back, but obviously you're lying to him, and that's going to be an issue, especially because it is a sex suit that she's in. Once again, it's a hug suit, but it's mainly what people use it for as a sex suit. But she's going to be in there forever. Well, she can't be in that forever is what I mean, and she's making it seem like, oh, she's in there all the time, so eventually she's going to have to leave, because she's going to have to take care of her body on the outside as well. So that's definitely going to be interesting. As long as her and Nathan aren't around each other 24/7, she can slip in and out, sure. But it's like, I wondered has she paid a lot? Well, because she's paid a lot to the point that Alicia found out from Lucy that, like, oh, those boots or whatever she's wearing is like $10K. So I guess she's keeping up the front, like, oh, I guess she's paying enough to make it seem like she's an upload. Because I don't know if someone who isn't an upload can be there for an extended period of time without there being any issue, or, I don't know. I'm curious to get into the nitty gritty of how that 100% works. But, obviously, reunited with his buddy Luke, but he's more so than anything focused on the whole Nora thing, which I love. Luke felt like, oh, you're ignoring me, but the moment he's like, hey, buddy, wait, you want to go to the gym? Yeah, let's go to the gym. And he finds out that Nathan had kind of been stalking Nora, going through all her, like, social media, trying to find her and stuff. And I love that he found Byron's, like, nightly profile, and he's like, okay, if I was at a gym, I could work out too, dick. And he's like, I'm a lower this 5 all the way down to a quarter. It's like, I love that. You're so damn petty. And poor Byron's getting it on both ends. Like, he was trying to, like, do something special for him and Nora, like, get, like, a very special room with all the amenities, but it would cost a lot. And she just kind of up and left them. And even her dad, Dave, being like, oh, do you want to say bye to Byron? She's like, hell no. And she made sure to take the wine, which I'm pretty sure that was his and not actually hers, because it was like a cheetah, almost thong of sorts. So I'm like, oh, I guess that was his. And kind of took the wine and bounced, and he has no idea. Poor bastard, really, he's a selfish, conceited dude, but he's actually changing little by little for Nora, because he does legitimately like Nora, very much like Nathan. It's the interesting parallels. I'm actually surprised to see he still also has that IT key, which I'm surprised no one's found out that he's got that. Granted, he hasn't been using it for like over a month, so that even if they could track it, like he hasn't used it prior. Last time he used it was when he was killing that assassin that was coming after Nora last season, which a detective is investigating said murder. I said it's that actor. I want to say the most recent thing I saw him in was season one of Altered Carbon, because he was also in iZombie first 1 or 2 seasons. I'm trying to remember. I want to say that, but I want to say Altered Carbon season 1 might be the most recent thing I saw him in. But he's an actor you've seen in like multiple things. I think his real name, in real life is Hero, because I was looking through it and he was in the I completely forgot he was in Heroes Reborn as well. But tangents and all that aside, so that's definitely going to be interesting. I love that it's kind of like, oh, poor guy, like, goes through in the elevator. I'm like, wait, are we completely ignored? Because there was that line when he stabbed that cop, and it's like, oh, you can't lay about all day. They never showed the rest of that scene, but I don't know. I thought that was kind of implying, like, oh, she's someone pretending to be a cop. But it was like, right, that was out in public. A woman, she got stabbed, and they're not correlating or connecting that to this guy. You know? That's what I'm curious about. Like, how he could just stab a police officer of sorts in public and just get away with it. So that line of like, oh, you can't lay about all day. I don't know if that was supposed to be a jacked up thing of like, oh, the person didn't know she was dead, or whether it's just supposed to be. I figured it was a thing of like, no, she's actually dead because he licked the knife at the end of in the episode. So like, she has to be dead, but I guess they haven't correlated and connected those cases yet. So that's gonna be interesting. You also feel bad because like, right, no one is still aware that Fran is dead. You know, so I want justice for hashtag justice for Fran. When is her case going to get investigated and all this? Maybe this will all kind of get tied together. All these cases will find their way to this detective who's going to be neck deep in the investigation for this. Because we still have no idea who's fully behind all this. We've kind of stepped in those directions of figuring out like who's behind killing Fran and also Nathan, but we're still in the dark about a lot of that. So I also love the little thing with Mildred, how I thought that was so interesting how she's got another face. I love that's just like a little character trait about that character. Just like, she's like, oh, like, she's kind of like missing her old face and stuff. And I am curious, like, because we get a little bit of Ingrid being like, oh, I guess it's just you and me, Grandma. And I'm like, I'm curious what their hanging out is going to look like, because we haven't really seen this. Well, obviously she hasn't been around, but I'd be curious to see what that looks like if the show even spends any time of those two spending any time together, you know? There was also the thing with the AI. I'm trying to remember what he was saying. He was saying something and he was still kind of fumbling and kind of messing up. And someone, it might have been Ingrid who was asking for the manager or something like that. And it split off and then he's like, very like, oh, what can I do for you? And I was like, right, the upgraded the concierge, all the other like AIs were just still left crappy, but the concierge got the level ups, the upgrade, the update. So I was like, right, nice little detail that kind of remind us of that. Speaking of the update, I love when Nathan went to go get in that bath or whatever. That old man's like, oh my god, I've been stuck in there since the update. It's like, and no one cared to know he wasn't around. Also, that person that Alicia was looking for, last time we saw their drive, it was on top of the ceiling lights. I'm like, was that ever found? We saw that one episode, but it never popped up again, so we don't know if that person was ever found. The person Alicia had to pretend to be him and dance with her husband. Curious if we're going to tie up that weird. Is it just going to be a gag that never gets dealt with, or is it a gag that actually is going to have a resolution this season? Just something in the back of my mind. But Nora and her dad go to Luds. I think they reference Luds a little bit, but they never really went into it. But it's almost like, I guess, like this futuristic, anti-technology group that's about growing food on their own and getting away from technology. And it means Nora has to leave behind her phone, which Nathan's trying to call her the entire time. He found out her last coordinates, but by the time he tracks those coordinates out, once again, it's been longer for him. Upon getting unfrozen, he finds out the last place he tracked her device, it was from 21 days ago, because she was initially resistant to the place, but Mateo, which I love the whole thing of, he's like, yeah, it's like Matt, but then I get my ass beat for what my name really is. It's I thought that was kind of a funny way of kind of approaching that. It's kind of oh, that probably can't be the easiest thing, so you probably go no, my name's Matt, probably try to avoid the Mateo angle to it. Which that actor, know him from, I know probably most recently, I think, was Designated Survivor might be the most recent thing, but was it Road Trip is probably the first thing I ever saw him in, and then Royal Pains is probably the thing I best know him from. But him and Nora are kind of hitting it off, and you're kind of oh, that sucks. I mean, her dad always wanted her to be with a human person anyway, and especially because it turns out she's been there for weeks, and obviously her and Mateo kind of have that back and forth. It's oh yeah, he is kind of one of the leaders here, but he's also very sassy. She's I'm not sassy. And it's oh, he said sassily. So it's yeah, there's something there, and they're kind of hitting it off when they dig up the potato together, but when their hands touch, and it's right, he's feeling something, she is too, but there's still the Nathan thing in the back of her mind. So when she gets an opportunity for them to drop off those letters, which one of the people she was dropping the letters off with, I'm blanking on that character's name. She was just in Charmed. She was the cat lady. Because I was oh, because I didn't even think about it when she was doing an American accent in this. Because her character had a British accent, so I'm assuming she's British. Because I think I saw her IMDb, she was in Doctor Who and stuff. Oh my god, that's not 100% guaranteed you have to be British, but you're most likely British or something from European at the very least. Tinges and all that side. Sadly, by the time Nora tried to get in contact with Nathan, she chose a cat's avatar and picked the worst time to show up, because Nathan's believing that, because he hasn't been able to get in contact with Nora and she hasn't contacted him, that she's moved on. And then she comes and see him and Ingrid, but he only did that because he thought she moved on, and she thought he kind of moved on because he didn't say I love you back when she confessed her feelings to him last season and in the season finale. But I'm surprised she didn't think about the aspect of, oh, right, you have a 2-gig situation, but she probably never thought about the fact is, because she doesn't know what he did on the elevator. She doesn't know that he killed that guy, probably, because she walked away from the elevator before it opened, so she doesn't know he ended up burning through some of his data to save her. But it never, that's the thing too, that it never crossed her mind about why, but she, I guess because she was caught up in the emotions of it, so she never thought oh, maybe there's another reason why he's only doing audio and he's trying to, but she wanted to say all that she had to say, but he didn't get the chance to say anything because he ran out of gigs, so. It's just sad how that works. It's just they were in such a good place, and now every time they take a step forward, it's always just they're just two passing ships in the night, always barely missing each other. Granted, it's a good thing you're missing each other, two passing ships in the night, but from the metaphorical standpoint, not the literal standpoint, in the metaphorical romance angle of things, it's kind of sucky. It's just oh, you just always miss your chance. It's just always something that gets in the way of you two being together, so we'll see. Now I think she's going to lean more into her and Mateo, there being something that's happening there. And Nate's back. Nathan, I keep shortening his name. Just Nathan's going to be back with Ingrid until he finds out she's a liar, manipulating him again. And she's still dodging the questions about yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. He's you implied that you have to keep me safe, but from who? But she hasn't given him any answers. So we'll see where things kind of go on that front as well. Oh, there's also the fact is Alicia got promoted, which you're you never would have thought that would have happened, because she seems like she's the one that does the literal worst at her job. She's, so that's kind of wild, but it's only because she bagged a client like Ingrid, which I feel like that's just purely by chance, but it's like, right, Ingrid's spending so much money now. By proxy, her angel, which is Alicia, is getting a promotion, and now it's like, oh cool, you can hire a temp agent and stuff, which now she has someone under her who's a temp, but she's like, oh, get rid of the jacket because I hate it. It's like, okay, no, but stand up to yourself. And so she's like, her name's Tensi, and she's like, oh, what should I do? It's like, whatever. It's like, thanks for the opportunity. So that's definitely going to be interesting, because they're probably going to be filling that void that is, like, Nora being away. I'm also curious about the message Nathan sent her. Will she get that in time or not? I mean, granted, it just depends on whenever she does get her phone back. That the wrist device that is basically her phone. When will she hear that message? Once again, it's just, they're always just going to miss each other, so something's going to have to trigger her to go check out that phone. She's left it behind, and she probably has, now that Nathan is moved on in her regard and going back to Ingrid, she has little reason to kind of want to go back. It's a nice, peaceful life here, kind of away from everything, and it's just kind of like, right, you're away from all that heartache, but it's that sad thing of like, well, because she was worried that Nathan, because she was kind of running away from him because of who he was, like, because she thinks he was the douchebag that betrayed his friend. But it's like, right, you're only getting a partial part of the story. You didn't see all his memories, and there's so much context that you probably, did you watch the entire memory? Like, questions like that. He remembers everything, and so it hasn't changed anything. So maybe they are sticking with, no, Nathan did a dick bad thing, but, she felt conflicted between, like, being in love with the person he became and having to deal with the person who he was, coming to terms with that. But when he didn't say it back, I love you back, or accepted those feelings because his gigs ran out and she didn't know that led to the fallout that we are currently in right now. So I'm curious. I get the feeling like it probably will not be until late into the season, or maybe it'll be next episode, but I feel like it'll be quite a few episodes at the bare minimum before she ends up hearing his message and finding out about a little bit of everything that went down in that time frame. Like I said, we'll ultimately have to wait and see where it all takes us going forward. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.